What happens if you want to leave your company during the probation period? The first thing you have to note is that if you want to leave your company, you have to check your contract if it is under the old law or the new law. If your contract is under the old law, you might be subjected to a ban, a labor ban. And this is because if you don't fall under category 1, 2, and 3 of the skill levels, you might be subjected to a ban from your employer. However, if you are under the new law, that is the law that started in February 2022, if your contract is under the new law, there are two instances that you can resign under your probation period. The first instance is that if you want to resign and you are planning to leave the UAE, meaning you don't want to stay in the United Arab Emirates, you want to go back to your country. If you want to go back to your country and you want to resign during your probation period, it is allowed. However, you have to give a 2 weeks notice to your employer, telling them that you want to resign from your work and go back to your country. You have to prepare your flight and leave the United Arab Emirates. So if you leave the UAE or if you are leaving the UAE, you are not supposed to pay any money to your employer, whether visa cost or any other cost that was incurred in your hiring process. However, again, if you go back to your country and within 3 months you decide to come back to the UAE, and when you come back to the UAE and get a new job within 3 months, if you get a new job, that your new employer, the new company that you are working for, is supposed to pay your old company some compensation. Your new company that you are working for is supposed to pay the old company some compensation. I hope you got that clear. So the second instance is that you want to resign from your new work, you want to resign from your work and get a new job in the UAE. There are so many people who get jobs and after 2 months they decide to leave. So maybe they got a new offer from a new company, or maybe the work culture is not too good for them. It is okay. It is allowed for you to leave. But before you leave, you have to give 1 month notice to your employer that you want to leave the company during your probation period. So remember, if you are leaving the UAE during your probation period, it is 2 weeks notice. You are not paying any money to anyone. But if you are staying in the UAE to get a new job, you have to give 1 month notice. So if you give that 1 month notice and finally you go to a new company, that new company is supposed to pay your old company compensation, which is usually the money for visa costs and some other costs that were incurred during your onboarding process or during the hiring process. So you have to be aware, in the two instances, you are not paying anyone. The new law has stated that you are not paying any money. You will not get any ban. You will not get any ban whether you are leaving the UAE or you are staying in the UAE. The first instance, you have to make 2 weeks notice, meaning you are going back to your country. And in the second instance, you are staying in the UAE to get another job. You have to give 1 month notice. But your new employer, the new company that you are working for, is supposed to compensate your old company. You have to be aware that probation is not a one-way street. It's not something that is one way. It is two ways. Probation is a period whereby the employer and the employee will evaluate their relationship if they are fit for each other. So it is not only the employer that is supposed to evaluate you during the probation period. You are also supposed to evaluate the company. Look at the company, if there are good opportunities in this company, if the work culture is good, if the work-life balance is good. If all these things are not good, if there's discrimination in the company and you are planning to leave, remember, they will not give you any ban. It doesn't matter your skill level. All that matters is that you have to follow due process. Give your 2 weeks notice if you want to go back to your country, and give your 1 month notice if you want to stay in the UAE. And you have to note that if your contract is under the new law, all these things apply to you. If your contract has not been revised by your company, meaning if your contract is under the old law still apply to your contract. I hope you understand all this, and if you have some doubts, please ask questions in the comment section. I know of so many people who come here and they get jobs, and after 1 month they plan to leave the company. It is okay. It happens. You have to know that there are so many opportunities out there, and don't get and keep yourself stuck in a place that you will regret tomorrow. So if you don't like the company, or if something is happening there, or you have received a different offer, please make sure that you follow due process. Because if you don't follow the law, if you don't follow all the rules and regulations, you might get a ban. But if you follow due process, you give your notice period by email. Send your notice by email. Don't send your notice by just WhatsApp or something. You have to send it in an official way so that you have backup. And remember, in all this, you are not supposed to pay any money. So if someone is telling you to pay money for because you are resigning during the probation period, that's all fake. And you can take the matter to the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratisation. Once again, thank you and have a nice time.